If you're a parent trying to guide your kids through the digital world, you know it can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. That's exactly why we've put together this evidence-based guide. We're going to cover everything from the science behind why social media is so captivating to practical, age-specific strategies you can start using tonight. So let's dive right in.
This is the question on pretty much every parent's mind today. And let me tell you, it's not an overreaction. The digital world is a massive part of our kids' lives, in ways we're really only just starting to wrap our heads around. And the first step is just understanding the sheer scale of it all.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 4.8 hours. That is the average amount of time a US teenager spends on social media every single day. I mean, that's not a hobby, right? That's basically a part-time job, but with a very different kind of boss calling the shots.
And it's not like this is a rare thing. The access is, well, it's pretty much everywhere. By the time they hit 15, a staggering 95% of teens have their own smartphone. That means these platforms are in their pockets, at their fingertips, constantly.
And with that constant access, well, you get constant use. 1 in every 3 teens says they check their social media almost constantly. This isn't just something they do to pass the time. For a lot of them, it's become a genuine compulsion. All right, so before we jump into the what to do, we've got to understand the why. What are the powerful forces at play here? Why are these platforms so magnetic, especially for our kids' developing minds? Okay, so this is where we get into the brain science of it all. These apps are literally engineered to trigger dopamine in the brain's reward center. That's the same chemical that's linked to pleasure and, yep, addiction. Now, pair that with a teenage brain, where the impulse control center, the prefrontal cortex, is still under construction until they're about 25. The pull of social validation from likes and comments, plus that intense fear of missing out, or FOMO, it creates this feedback loop that's almost impossible to resist. So when you hear all that, it's so easy to just see social media as this big, bad enemy, right? But the most effective approach, the one we're going to focus on, starts with a really crucial mindset shift. We need to start seeing it as a tool, not as a threat. And this is exactly why that mindset shift is so key. Social media is a total double-edged sword. On one hand, yeah, it can be amazing for creative expression, for connecting with communities, and for keeping up with friends. But on the flip side, the documented risks, we're talking increased anxiety, sleep disruption, cyberbullying, body image issues. Those are incredibly real and serious. And this really gets to the core idea here. It's a tool. Think of it like a hammer. A hammer can build a house, or it can cause a lot of damage. The same is true for social media. So your role as a parent isn't just to restrict. It's to teach your child how to use this powerful tool with intention and in a healthy way. Okay, so that's the big picture. But how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? Let's get into the practical age-by-age playbook that builds from a really strong foundation all the way up to guided independence. All right, for the little ones, ages 6 to 8, the game plan is pretty simple. It's all about complete supervision. Now, this isn't about being overly restrictive. It's about building those fundamental habits and concepts of digital safety from the very beginning, just like you would with teaching them to ride a bike or swim. So what does that actually look like? Well, you absolutely want to watch vetted, educational content with your child. Make it a shared activity. You definitely need to set hard time limits. Those boundaries are crucial. And please, do not allow unsupervised access or let them wander into the wild west of user-generated content like the main YouTube feed. The goal here is co-viewing, not just letting them scroll solo. Okay, now we're getting into the transition years, ages 9 to 11. And believe me, this is a critical time. This is often when kids get their first real taste of social media, usually through their friends. How you handle this stage really sets the tone for their entire digital life. So your role starts to shift here. You're moving from just supervising to actively teaching. You need to sit down and have these essential conversations. Talk about their digital footprint, the idea that what goes online stays online forever. Teach them ironclad rules about privacy. And maybe most importantly, create that safe space so they know they can come to you about cyberbullying, making it crystal clear that it is never, ever their fault.
And now for the big one, the critical years, 12 to 15. This is the age where research shows the highest link between social media use and mental health challenges. Just trying to restrict everything often backfires. It can lead to them being secretive and can break down trust. The key here is a balanced approach, clear, consistent boundaries combined with open, ongoing communication.
These are what I like to call the non-negotiable house rules that really protect your teen's well-being. No devices for the hour before bed. This is huge for protecting their sleep. All devices charge overnight in a central spot, like the kitchen, and not in their bedrooms. This one prevents that late-night scrolling that just wrecks their sleep. And creating sacred, tech-free time for meals and family moments is absolutely vital for staying connected.
Okay, so you've got the rules in place, you're having the conversations, but how do you know if your child's usage is tipping from just normal teen stuff into something more problematic? You've got to know what to look for, the warning signs. First up, just watch their mood. Pay attention to their mental state. Are you noticing a general increase in anxiety? Do they seem extra irritable or sad, especially right after they've been on their phone? A really big red flag is when they start pulling away from hobbies and activities they used to love just to get more screen time.
And then there are the behavioral changes to watch for. Are they suddenly super secretive about what they're doing online? Do they get angry or aggressive when you ask them to put their device away? A loss of interest in their real-world offline friends or a sudden drop in their grades are also major signs that something is out of balance. So, if you're listening and nodding along to some of those warning signs, first things first, don't panic and don't start pointing fingers. The next step is to take calm, measured action using this simple 3-step plan.
First, step 1, just assess the situation. Do a little homework, document the behaviors you're seeing, check their screen time stats on their device, maybe even have a quiet word with their teachers. Step 2, have the conversation. And timing is everything here, right? Don't do it in the middle of a fight. Start with empathy, something like, hey, I've noticed you seem a little stressed lately, and then listen more than you talk. Finally, step 3, implement changes together. Don't just lay down the law. Focus on adding positive activities back into their life. And this is crucial. Model the healthy habits you want them to have.
And you know, all these rules and plans, they lead to what is honestly the most important strategy of all. This can't be a one-time lecture. True digital wellness is built through regular, low-stakes conversations that are all about creating connection, not conflict.
And it can be so much simpler than you think. Instead of asking, what are you doing on your phone, which, let's be honest, immediately sounds accusatory, try an open-ended question like this. What's the most interesting thing you've seen online this week? It shows you're actually interested. A simple, weekly digital check-in that starts with curiosity can open the door to so many deeper conversations about what they're really experiencing.
So, here's what it all boils down to. Building a healthy relationship with technology isn't about having all the perfect answers or some magic set of rules. It's about staying connected with your kid, staying curious about their world, and committing to having an ongoing conversation. The only question left is, are you ready to start?